told us to stay balanced. They told us not to go too far in any one direction, to pace ourselves, to live moderately, to keep everything in check. They told us that obsession is dangerous, that it leads to burnout, that it's unhealthy. But what they didn't tell you is that balance is the death of greatness. Because balance is a cage for the average. And obsession is the crucible where the extraordinary are forged. Let me tell you a truth no one else will. The people who changed the world didn't live balanced lives. They weren't concerned with harmony or moderation. They were consumed by a single idea, a relentless pursuit, a ruthless devotion to something greater than themselves. Balance didn't build empires. Balance didn't put men on the moon. Balance didn't carve masterpieces from stone or revolutionize technology or dominate the battlefield of business. Obsession did. Balance is for those who want comfort. Obsession is for those who want immortality. And the world worships those who refuse to stop at good enough. But here's the catch. You won't find obsession where it's comfortable. It lives in the shadows, in the silence, in the late nights when everyone else is sleeping, and you're still building, still learning, still bleeding for a future only you can see. Most people fail not because they do too much, but because they never go deep enough. They dabble, they sample, they quit. They want to be great without giving everything. But obsession doesn't tolerate part-time lovers. It demands full custody of your soul, and it rewards those willing to drown in the depth others fear to touch. So if you're wondering why your life feels stagnant, why you haven't made the leap, why your vision still lives in your head instead of your hands, it's not because you're doing too much. It's because you're not doing enough of the one thing that matters. You're scattered, divided, split between distractions disguised as responsibilities. But let me ask you, what if you gave yourself permission to go all in? What if you stopped apologizing for your obsession and started using it as a weapon? They'll call you crazy. They'll say you've changed. They'll tell you you're going too far. But the truth is, they're just afraid of what you'll become when you finally stop holding back. Because obsession makes you dangerous, unpredictable, unstoppable. You become the kind of force that doesn't compete. It dominates. You want mastery? You want transformation? Then burn the myth of balance to the ground. Let your life become asymmetric, messy, wild with fire. Let every ounce of your being become soaked in your purpose. This is the sacred art of obsession, a commitment so deep, so unrelenting, that it scares mediocrity away from your doorstep. Balance is the enemy of greatness, because balance asks you to compromise. Obsession asks you to ascend. So the question is not, how do I balance my life? The real question is, what am I willing to sacrifice to become unforgettable? Because at the end of your life, no one will remember how balanced you were. They'll remember what you built, what you conquered, what you stood for with every breath in your lungs. Go deeper. Drown in it. Let obsession become your religion. And through it, unlock a kind of greatness the balanced can only dream of. You were not born to be balanced. You were born to be legendary. So stop pretending otherwise and start becoming who you were always meant to be. Step 1. Declare war on balance. Because balanced is just another word for average. They dressed it up to look noble. They wrapped it in words like health, wellness, and peace of mind. They told us balance was the key to a fulfilled life. But in reality, balance is the silent killer of greatness. Because balance doesn't just slow you down, it sedates you. It trains you to settle. It tricks you into thinking you can chase your dreams at half speed and still cross the finish line. It's the well-intentioned poison they serve to the masses. And you've been drinking it for years. But let's strip the veil off right now. Balance is the art of being mediocre at everything. It's the excuse people use to justify quitting early. It's the voice that says, don't overdo it. Don't go too far. Don't lose yourself. But here's the reality. If you don't lose yourself in something bigger, you'll never find yourself in the first place. Look around. Most people live in the center lane. Cruise control. They dabble in goals. They flirt with purpose. They touch the edges of their potential, then recoil. Because going deeper might mean discomfort. Balance rewards the kind of person who wants safety over impact. But greatness is never found in the middle. It lives on the extremes, in the chaos, in the sacrifice, in the nights where your eyes burn and your body begs for rest, but your soul demands more. So what does declaring war on balance actually mean? It means you stop worshiping the myth that you can have it all without paying the price. It means you stop trying to juggle 100 priorities and start pouring everything into the one that actually matters. You stop splitting your energy between meaningless obligations. You stop living a life of divided focus. You stop trying to manage your ambition. And you let it off the leash. And no, it won't be healthy. It won't always be pretty. It won't fit in a perfect little planner with hourly time blocks. But it will be real. It will be raw. And it will wake something inside you that's been dying for years. Ask yourself, how many dreams have I suffocated in the name of balance? How many times have I dimmed my fire just to be more reasonable? How many versions of me were left unbuilt because I chose safety over obsession? You want to change your life? Then declare war on every ounce of moderation that's kept you chained. Cut the fake boundaries. Cancel the pointless meetings. Walk away from the lukewarm habits. Dismantle the routines that keep you numb but functioning. Because function isn't enough. You weren't meant to exist. You were meant to explode. Balance is for civilians. Obsession is for warriors. And the life you want will not tolerate a divided heart. This isn't about recklessness. It's about ruthless precision. A surgical strike on anything that doesn't align with the highest version of yourself. It's about showing the world and yourself that you didn't come here to participate. You came here to dominate. So no, you will not be balanced. You will not be well-rounded. You will not be normal. Because normal isn't working. You will be obsessed. You will be singular. You will be dangerous. And it all begins the moment you look balance in the face and say, you're the enemy now. That's when the fire ignites. That's when transformation begins. That's when the clock starts ticking on your old life. Declare war and let obsession rise. Step 2. Choose your holy obsession. Because without a singular target, power bleeds in every direction. Most people are tired, burnt out, and unfulfilled. Not because they're doing too much, but because they're doing too many different things that mean nothing to them. Their energy is fractured, their attention scattered. They are moving constantly, yet going nowhere. This is the disease of the modern world. Infinite options, no direction, and a soul stretched so thin it forgets what it was made for. But obsession doesn't live in the realm of many. It is born in the furnace of one. If you want to be dangerous, if you want to rise above the noise, you must make a brutal decision. You must choose the one thing you will give everything to. Not the thing that feels convenient, not the thing that's trendy or safe, but the thing that keeps you awake at night. The thing that gnaws at your bones when you're not doing it. The thing that, if you buried it, would haunt your grave. That's your holy obsession. And once you find it, your life must begin to orbit around it like a planet pulled into gravity. Everything else, it becomes background noise. Every relationship, every opportunity, every decision is filtered through a single lens. Does this bring me closer to it or distract me from it? Understand this. True obsession isn't a choice. It's a calling. But that calling won't scream. It won't demand your attention. It whispers. And it's only when you silence the noise of 1,000 meaningless distractions that you'll hear it clearly. And when you do, it won't make sense to anyone else. They'll question it. They'll mock it. They'll ask why you've become so one-dimensional. But that's because most people are a mile wide and an inch deep. And you're about to dig until you strike oil. Once you've chosen your holy obsession, write it down. Name it. Brand it. Burn it into your mind until it becomes part of your identity. Let it evolve into something so personal, so sacred, that you would rather suffer in its pursuit than feel peace without it. This is not about passion. Passion is cheap. Passion comes and goes with the weather. Obsession stays. Obsession commands. Obsession builds empires. So if you're tired of spinning in circles, if you're done being average at everything and great at nothing, then pick the one thing you're willing to go to war for. And once you choose it, make a vow. This is what I will master. This is the path I will walk. And I will not stop until it bends to my will or breaks me trying. Because in a world full of dabblers, the obsessed become legends. Step 3. Build a ritual that feeds the flame. Because obsession dies in chaos, but thrives in structure. Obsession isn't just about wanting something more than anyone else. It's about designing your life so that wanting becomes doing, and doing becomes inevitable. Most people think obsession is about passion-fueled sprints, bursts of energy, and random late nights of work. That's not obsession. That's emotional enthusiasm, and it burns out fast. The real obsessed don't depend on mood. They depend on ritual. A ritual is the skeletal structure that keeps your ambition upright when motivation collapses. It's the system that makes progress a requirement instead of a choice. If your environment, your time blocks, your habits, and your daily decisions aren't set up to feed your obsession, then you're playing with fire without wood. You'll feel the spark, but never see the blaze. Your mornings should be sacred. Your nights should be protected. Your days should have a rhythm that funnels every ounce of your energy into deep work, relentless learning, and skill refinement. And every single thing that does not feed that flame, it gets stripped away without remorse. Here's the truth. No one tells you. The obsessed are boring to the outside world. They eat the same fuel-rich meals. They wake at the same hour. They repeat the same drills until their craft becomes muscle memory. From the outside, it looks mechanical. But from the inside, it's alchemy. Every small, repeated act compounds into something unstoppable. Build your environment so the path of least resistance is always toward your obsession. Make your tools visible. Make your distractions invisible. Automate the meaningless. Systematize the essential. and train your brain to crave the work like a starving animal craves meat. Do this long enough, and you'll notice something strange. You no longer need to push yourself. The ritual pulls you. Your habits take on a life of their own. Momentum becomes your ally. And your fire, it stops flickering and starts roaring. The world will try to disrupt your rhythm. They'll tell you you're too rigid, too intense, too consumed. But they don't understand. Ritual isn't the prison of obsession. It's the fortress that protects it. So build your life like a cathedral for your craft. Let every brick you lay be a habit, a schedule, a choice that strengthens your fire. And when the storms of laziness and distraction come, and they will, your flame will not go out, because you've built something too strong to be extinguished. If it doesn't feed the fire, it doesn't belong. That's the law. And you enforce it without mercy. Step 4. Become ruthless with your energy. Because every distraction you tolerate is a dagger in the heart of your purpose. You only have so much power each day, so much mental fire, so much focus to give. And yet most people spill that power carelessly, chasing the trivial, reacting to noise, pleasing people who wouldn't show up at their funeral. They spend their life like it's infinite, as if there's no cost to saying yes to every demand, every notification, every pointless conversation. But there is a cost, and if you don't learn to protect your energy like a king guards his throne, you will waste your potential on things that don't matter. You will drain your fire serving 1,000 hollow obligations. You will fade, not because you were weak, but because you were too available. Here's the shift. You're not just someone chasing a goal. You are building something sacred. You are a guardian of your purpose. And that means your time, your attention, your emotional bandwidth, they are non-refundable currency. You cannot afford to be casual. You cannot afford to let everyone in. You cannot afford to check your phone every 5 minutes, like it's going to save your life. You have to become ruthless. Ruthless doesn't mean cruel. It means clear. It means honest. It means you stop lying to yourself about what's worth your time and what isn't. You say no to anything that doesn't align. No to shallow conversations. No to reactive schedules. No to the people who take more than they give. No to the habits that leave you dull, foggy, and unfocused. You stop explaining your boundaries. You stop apologizing for your discipline. You stop justifying your silence. You cut the noise so you can hear the voice of your obsession louder than anything else. Think of your energy like a sword. Sharp, deadly, limited in swings. You can't afford to waste it on shadows. Every slice must count. Every strike must move you forward. So ask yourself every day, is this conversation making me sharper? Is this task bringing me closer to mastery? Is this input feeding or bleeding me? And if the answer is no, you cut it off. Without hesitation, without guilt. Because greatness doesn't grow in overstimulation. It grows in focused aggression. People will say you're intense. They'll say you've changed. They'll say, you don't respond like you used to. Good. Because the version of you who replied to every distraction was the version of you who wasn't winning. That version is gone now. Now you're a weapon. Sharpened. Focused. Lethal. And you will not waste another drop of energy on anything that doesn't fuel your obsession. Ever again. Step 5. Train until you're unrecognizable. Because obsession is not about improvement. It's about rebirth. The world will tell you to get better, to level up, to make progress. But you're not here to improve. You're here to transform, to become someone that even your past self wouldn't recognize. To cross a threshold so violent, so definitive, that the old version of you becomes nothing more than a ghost. Faded, irrelevant, buried. This level of obsession isn't about polishing who you are. It's about replacing who you were. Most people stop at better. You will stop at nothing short of becoming a weapon. That means your training doesn't have an end date. It's not something you do when it's convenient, when it fits your schedule, when you feel like it. It becomes your life. You train your body because this machine must obey your will. It doesn't need to be pretty. It needs to be disciplined. Your flesh must submit to your vision, not the other way around. You train your mind because mental sharpness is the edge that cuts through chaos. Read until your mind becomes a blade. Study until ignorance suffocates in your presence. Think so deeply that shallow minds cannot breathe around you. You train your spirit because that's what fuels obsession when everything else breaks. Your spirit must be forged through adversity, pressure, and the refusal to surrender. Not motivation, not hype, conviction. This training will cost you. You will lose friends who don't recognize you anymore. You will lose comforts that kept you soft. You will lose the voice in your head that said, "This is good enough." But in return, you will gain freedom. Freedom from weakness, freedom from excuses, freedom from the prison of who you used to be. And one day, you'll look in the mirror and think, "Who the hell is this monster I've become?" That's when you'll know you've arrived. Training isn't something you fit in. It's not something you balance with life. It becomes life. Because the difference between the obsessed and the ordinary isn't just intensity. It's identity. You don't do the work like the best. You become someone for whom anything less than mastery is betrayal. You don't train to compete. You train to eclipse, to overwhelm, to suffocate the opposition with your presence, to make the gap between you and them so wide, it feels like a different species. The goal isn't to be better than others. The goal is to become unreachable. So digging, sacrifice, sharpen, bleed, until your name is no longer said with familiarity, but with reverence or fear, until those who once knew you realize they never really did, until the old you is nothing more than a distant echo in the ruins of your former life. Train until you're unrecognizable, then train harder. Step 6. Burn the exit plan. Because the moment you leave a door cracked open, you've already chosen to fail. Most people don't fail because they weren't capable. They fail because they gave themselves permission to retreat. They build bridges to their dreams, but keep boats docked just in case it gets hard. They tell themselves, "If this doesn't work, I'll fall back on something else." That one sentence is the funeral of destiny, because obsession cannot live where escape is an option. You cannot give birth to greatness while still writing the eulogy for your commitment. You must decide, now, that there is no later, no maybe, no if this doesn't work. There is only through. Burning the exit plan is about sealing yourself inside the path. You don't knock on the door of your dream. You kick it off the hinges and burn the road behind you. And yes, it's terrifying. Yes, it feels like death. Because in a way, it is. It's the death of your safety nets. The death of your plan B. The death of the part of you that always kept one foot out the door. But in that death, you are reborn into someone committed, someone relentless, someone who doesn't wonder if it will happen, only when When you burn the exit plan, something shifts inside you. Every action carries more weight. Every decision matters. There's no more trying. There's only executing or dying in the process. Your fear becomes your fuel. Your desperation sharpens your discipline. Your lack of backup becomes the reason you find a way forward. You stop operating like someone with options and start moving like someone with a vow. Understand this. As long as quitting is on the table, you are not dangerous. You are not committed. You are not fully alive. Obsession demands a sacrifice. And the first thing you must sacrifice is your way out. So burn the lifeboats. Tear up the what-if list. Cut off the side hustles that pull you in 5 directions. Stop dabbling. Stop experimenting. Stop seeking validation for your choice. Make the damn decision, and then close the door so hard behind you that it turns to ash. Let the world feel your presence like a coming storm. Let them wonder how you became so focused, so intense, so unstoppable. And when they ask you what your secret is, you'll smile and say, I removed the choice to quit. I burned my way out. And now, there's only one way left. Forward. Because once the exit is gone, so are the doubts. So is the hesitation. So is the version of you that would have backed down. Burn the plan. Burn the past. Burn the limits. And become someone who must win. Because there's no longer a world where you don't. Step 7. Use pain as fuel. Because what breaks most people builds the obsessed. You've been taught to fear pain, to run from it, to numb it, to treat it like a problem instead of a portal. But pain is not your enemy. It's your ignition. While others drown in discomfort, those who are truly obsessed devour it. They turn agony into acceleration. They weaponize their wounds. They rise from rock bottom, not by avoiding the fire, but by walking through it until it obeys them. Most people try to escape pain the moment it hits. They reach for distraction. They scroll, drink, vent, sedate. They think, I shouldn't feel this. But they never ask, what is this trying to show me? Not you. Not anymore. You are not here to escape pain. You are here to extract power from it. Every betrayal, every failure, every rejection, every moment you felt unseen, unloved, or unworthy, all of it is fuel. Fuel to train harder. Fuel to study deeper. Fuel to focus longer. Fuel to never let that pain define you again. Here's the truth most will never accept. If you use pain the way it was designed, it becomes the very thing that makes you invincible. Because the man or woman who has suffered deeply and refused to break is the one who walks into every challenge with fire in their eyes. They don't flinch. They don't fold. They've already bled and learned how to bleed better. They've built something most will never understand. Inner armor. Pain teaches you in ways comfort never can. It sharpens. It strips away illusions. It introduces you to your limits, then dares you to obliterate them. And once you learn to stop resisting pain, you begin to respect it. You learn how to mine it. You become a craftsman of suffering, forging weapons out of heartbreak, focus out of rage, clarity out of chaos. Now, when life punches you in the mouth, you don't just get back up. You smile. Because you know, this is where the power lives. So the next time pain comes, don't ask, why me? Ask, what can I build with this? Don't hide it. Harness it. Channel every drop into your obsession. Let your scars become signatures, proof that you endured and chose to rise with fire instead of fall with fear. Pain will keep coming. That's life. But the obsessed don't waste it. They consume it. They turn heartbreak into fuel. They turn failure into focus. They turn the darkest nights into foundations for unstoppable futures. This is your gift. Where others break, you build. Use pain. Use all of it. Then walk forward, not in spite of it, but because of it. Step 8. Let the obsession consume you. Then set the world on fire. Because the goal was never balance. It was domination. This is where most people stop. They learn. They train. They commit. But they never fully surrender. They dip their toes in obsession. But they never dive in and drown the version of themselves that used to play small. They keep a piece of themselves hidden. A part that says, don't lose control. Don't go too far. Don't become too much. But if you want to etch your name into time, if you want to be the kind of force the world cannot ignore, then you must do what terrifies the masses. You must let the obsession consume you. Fully, completely, unapologetically. That means your thoughts begin to revolve around one thing. You wake up with it. You go to sleep with it. It's in your blood, in your breath, in the pulse of your very existence. You don't balance your obsession. You become it. You no longer chase your goals as a task. You carry them as an identity. Obsession isn't about noise. It's about silence. The kind of silence where your mind locks into your mission like a predator on prey. No doubts. No detours. No distractions. Just vision. Just execution. Just inevitability. At this level, you're not competing with others. You're erasing the competition by becoming something they cannot comprehend. Because you're not just doing more than them. You are more than them. More committed, more consistent, more dangerous. And when the obsession has fully taken over, when you've cut away the fear, the excuses, the social approval, and the need to be understood, you will feel something ignite deep within you. A fire, but not one that burns you from the outside, one that radiates from within. Controlled, focused, nuclear. People will see it in your eyes. They'll feel it in your presence. And they won't know whether to worship you or run. Because nothing is more terrifying to a world built on mediocrity than someone who is completely committed to becoming legendary. This is when the world bends. This is when momentum shifts. This is when opportunity, time, and circumstance all begin to rearrange around you like planets around a black hole. You are no longer a participant in life. You are its rewriter, its sculptor, its storm. And your legacy is no longer a possibility. It becomes inevitable. So let it take you. Let the obsession wrap itself around your spine. Let it bleed into your words, your work, your walk. Let it push you beyond reason, beyond logic, beyond limits. Become the one who cannot be ignored. The one who sets fire to comfort zones and never looks back. The one who chose mastery, not moderation. Let the world call it unhealthy. Let them call it insane. Let them call it whatever they need to in order to justify their smallness. Because deep down, they wish they had the fire you carry. So now the question remains, will you try to manage your flame? Or will you let it burn the map, light the sky, and rewrite the stars? Let it consume you. And when it does, set the world on fire. Let them see the smoke and know someone dangerous was here. And they never lived balanced. They lived obsessed. You were never meant to live a life of balance. You were never meant to juggle mediocrity in every direction and call it fulfillment. You were never meant to chase 10 hollow dreams and wonder why none of them ever became real. You were meant to go deep, to go all in, to burn for something so intensely that the world couldn't look away if it tried. Balance is a cage built by people who feared their own potential. But you're not here to be comfortable. You're here to conquer. You declared war on the lie. You've chosen your holy obsession. You've built the rituals, guarded your energy, trained until your reflection became a stranger, burned your exit plan, turned pain into fuel. And now, you've let the fire take you. This isn't about hype. This isn't about motivation. This is about identity. You are not someone who tries. You are someone who becomes. Someone who chooses obsession as a way of life. And through that obsession, destroys the ceiling the world built above you. Let others play balanced. Let them dabble. Let them quit. Let them settle. Let them live a life of quiet desperation disguised as peace. But you will be known. Not because you were lucky, not because you were gifted, but because you refused to live at surface level when the deep was calling. So don't just remember these steps, become them. Etch them into your daily existence until you no longer need to try. Because obsession has become who you are. The sacred art of obsession is not a strategy. It's not a season. It's not a phase. It's a rebirth. And now that you've tasted it, you can never go back. Let the world chase balance. You were built for fire. Now burn so brightly, they never forget your name.